Trae. Thank you for having me this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. We all got the green memo. I'm definitely feeling it.
I'm not quite, and
yeah. I was going to say, they got to see the shoes and the socks. He's all the way with it. Well, we just love your brother here. He's gives so much to Seattle. Tell us a bit about how you experienced your family and your background in this kind of musical household.
It's been pretty remarkable. And I had the pleasure of listening to the first half of this interview, and he does give a lot to the city. So it's a beautiful thing to come back to. It's been a minute since I've been in Seattle, but growing up in a musical household, my mom was actually one of 7 kids. She grew up in Panama, and I think they all had to learn how to play the piano. So coming up, my siblings and we all had the same memo where thou shalt take piano lessons as just what you do. It's like part of school. And I enjoyed that. And Mom tells a story about me actually singing before I was speaking. I'm not sure if it's actually true, but I'm a December birthday baby. And she says that I didn't speak until about 1.5 or 2, making noises. But I was making these noises, and come, I think, October of the next year, after I was born or so, I started singing, and she was listening, saying, "This boy is singing a Christmas tune, a Christmas carol." So he said, "This sound was in my ear, and I had to figure out how to make this sound before I could make any other sounds." So that's my personal mythology.
Oh my goodness, singing before speaking.
We'll see.
Look, we do know that a lot of great singers actually understood musical connection from such a young age, and I'm a December baby as well. So I resonate with just the spirit of the times we're born in, right? There's so much joy, so much going on at the end of the year. And so I experienced that myself. Both of my sons' birthdays are in December. So it's a serious month for me next month. It's always serious. But I'm really excited to learn about what got you into then taking it to another level. Tell us a bit about that journey, starting young, doing piano, loving that, but then taking it to say, I really got a voice here. Let's hear a bit about that journey.
Thank you. Well, I did grew up singing in the church from a young age, in the youth choir and that sort of thing. And when I was about age 12 or 13, I actually auditioned for and got into the Northwest Boys Choir here in Seattle. And what's beautiful about that group is that they have a sort of a gradated series of choirs, from like a preparatory choir for the youngest kids to a concert choir for kids who are a bit older, and then they have a touring choir. And when I auditioned, I was a little bit older, and they put me directly into the touring choir.
Wow.
And so I had some musical background because of piano and having sung. And one of the first tours we went on was actually a summer tour to Hawaii. And so you're traveling with a bunch of youngsters your age making music, and the idea of these choral harmonies and this sort of high level musicality was something that I really took to and enjoyed. Also got a chance to travel to Japan with them the following year. And then about 6 months after that, my voice changed and the bottom falls out. And I didn't have any idea of becoming a professional singer really, but I had an evaluation. A professional singer had heard me sing when I was still a boy soprano. And she said, "Well, your voice is going to change. Don't worry, but you're a musician and a singer at heart. So continue to sing." Mm-hmm. At age 13, that goes out your head. But fast forward to about age 19 or so, when I started going to college, I hadn't sung since my voice had changed. And kind of in between that point was when I started taking tennis really seriously. So that's when Mr. Topspin started talking about that was the time period when I really kind of focused on tennis. And that was sort of through the back end of high school. And when I started trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up, when I went to college, to the University of Washington, I started taking a voice lesson just on a whim because I hadn't sung. And I happened into a really good teacher who early on said, "I think you should declare yourself a voice major and start taking lessons so you get more lessons with me." And at the end of the semester, he said he actually got a job at West Virginia University. And he had a master class with all the students and said, "You're doing so beautifully. I have some bad news, though. I'm going to be leaving town, and I hate to really leave you at this point of progress. But Ken, I think you might want to consider studying with me because I think you could make a living singing."
Wow.
And so I auditioned for and got into the music program at WVU. They put me on a performance grants scholarship, and it was all about the training, and that continued. When I graduated, I came back to Seattle with that piece of paper that says, okay, you have a degree in voice. Now what? And I auditioned for and got into the Seattle Opera chorus. And about a year or so, the Seattle Opera Guild started paying for my voice lessons. They kind of began to track me like a young artist. This is before Seattle Opera had a young artist training program. Mm-hmm. And it was a wonderful opportunity because I was able to use that scholarship money for voice lessons, for language lessons, for acting, all these sort of things that we part of a young artist program. Mm-hmm. And I also had the opportunity to sing with local groups like the Northwest Chamber Orchestra. I actually got a chance to open McCall Hall, Benaroya Hall for the Seattle Symphony. Wow. A lot of remarkable experiences sort of early in my career. And then I auditioned for and got into the Young Artist Training Program of the Lyric Opera of Chicago, which took me away from Seattle in about 1999. Mm. And that was the last time that I lived in Seattle, actually.
Wow.
And so from that point, I've sung with opera companies here and elsewhere. And for a couple of years was a cast member of a show called Three Mo Tenors, which is, the take on the three tenors with three African-American tenors singing everything from opera to gospel to jazz to the blues to Broadway and back. And cut my teeth in a really unique way. And what was wonderful about that project is it really encouraged us to embrace the variety of music that we are exposed to and that we might have an affinity for. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes within classical music, you're really encouraged to specialize because frankly, you have to specialize to become really proficient to a degree. But what's beautiful is that reclaiming these other roots really opens up some other interpretive possibilities. So wow. That's the long story.
Wow. Well, this is what I love. I love hearing all of the different spots of time that lead you to where you are today. And, I have become a recent real fan of the opera. Seattle Opera just interviewed me and dropped their blog post yesterday of me explaining my experience with opera because, I was saying that, in order for it to be accessible, sometimes we have to hear music that we're already connected to. And sometimes it's a leap for folks in Black communities to go, okay, I get what they're doing at the opera. It's like it is. But because I've experienced so many shows, I've had this amazing time from each show of like, wow, allowing that to resonate with me. And beautiful. Opera is everything, right? There's acting in it. There's all of these special nuances with set design and costumes. And it's so theatrical. Absolutely. In that regard. And I have really become such a huge fan. So I just love hearing this entire story of you going all over the place with your voice and your voice taking you everywhere. But we also got a great clip because it took you to an Astros game, right? And you got to sing the national anthem. We have a clip right here. Oh my goodness. They're just telling me, giving me all the deets. I didn't even know Big O was on the scene. Amazing shooting that clip. That was just in the recent playoffs. So, your voice is taking you everywhere. And now you're back home. You have a show coming up. Tell us about that.
Yes, indeed. One of the things, as I mentioned, my Three Mo Tenors background, and I really enjoyed and have taken to this idea of crafting or curating concerts that take people on a journey. And so this concert that I'm presenting on Sunday, the 13th of November at Plymouth Congregational Church is called Invitation to Voyage. And it is kind of inspired by the themes of water and waves and journeys. And it weaves together everything from classical French art song to opera arias to spirituals to settings of poetry by Langston Hughes. It's really kind of a series of pieces of music that really resonate with me. and it's a bit of an experience. I had a fantastic rehearsal last night with my pianist, Joseph Williams, who's originally from Tacoma, brilliant young pianist and wonderful collaborator. And he leaned over to me afterward and said, "Thank you for this journey. This is what my soul needed." And I was like, "Thank you, my soul needed to sing it." So I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, of course, I got to give you time because we need to know how we can come and support the concert going on Sunday. Is it open to the public? Is it closed? You let us know. But you can look right there. Let folks know how to connect with you on social media or whatever, so they can follow things that you drop and how they can come out on Sunday and support the show.
Fantastic. The concert, again, it is an open concert, open to the public, being presented at Plymouth Congregational Church, which is downtown, I think, like 6th Avenue. And what's wonderful about it is that ticket prices are very low. It is only a $20 donation, and all proceeds are actually going to be benefiting the Poor People's Campaign. The minister at that church, Reverend Dr. Kelly Brown, is a brilliant theologian and leader connected with this organization, and I like to connect my concerts to things that have a cause that does beautiful things in the world. So please come and support this particular concert, and then you'll be fed by this particular concert. My social media presence, the easiest way to track me down, and I'm not anywhere as good as my younger brother is on this, but I do have an Instagram account, which is KGVox, spelled KAYGEEVOX. I'm getting better at posting details about my work there, and that's, I guess, all you need to know. But please, I really look forward to seeing you all on Sunday afternoon. Again, it's a 2 p.m. concert.
Wow. Kenneth, thank you so much for what you're doing. Representation matters so much. And you are Seattle born and bred, now living down south. But we just are so glad that you brought your skills, your love, and your talent back to Seattle. Thank you so much for gracing me on the Day with Trae today.
Absolute pleasure, Trae. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Wow. I told you.